Uploading.
How far away is it?
Engineering to the bridge. We just picked up a surge in the EPS grid on A-deck.
Thanks for the warning.
It had only been a short time since the battle with the unknown enemy vessel that had nearly destroyed the NX-01 Enterprise. Archer found himself in his office brooding a bit. His first command hadn't been exactly what he thought it was going to be. In his personal log, he admitted how he was excited when the anti-Vulcan movement within Starfleet gained prominence and how he had been perfectly positioned to show why humanity could stand on its own. While it is fleeting, for just a moment he wonders if perhaps they had all been wrong, just maybe to some small degree, and that the choices made for the vessel to launch perhaps had been a bit too hasty, too premature. During his personal confession in his log and to himself, T'pol would arrive with information. This ultimately sours his mood and he returns to his more pompous persona. The conversation is tense as the Vulcan advises of the necessary repairs and how long it will take to return to Earth. He dismisses her and tosses the pad she had brought with the timetables on the desk. The scene cuts to some time later with Archer and T'pol on the bridge. Hoshi reports that they are receiving a signal from an unknown alien probe, and they have no idea what it's sending out. Archer orders Mayweather to set a course for the object, but is almost immediately countermanded by T'pol. The Vulcan warns that this could be a trap, and Archer retorts that it could just as easily be a call for help. Nevertheless, the Vulcan theorizes the Enterprise was still heavily damaged from the last encounter and would be at a disadvantage if something were to go awry. Whether the two are having a debate or out-and-out arguing is something that the bridge crew aren't sure of and seem visibly uncomfortable. Nevertheless, T'pol does hold her ground. As the conversation continues, the object approaches and attempts a direct communication. It begins to repeat it over and over, making no other moves. Despite her attempts, Hoshi is unable to understand what is being sent. T'pol advises that the signal is somewhat strange and that this could be an intent of hostility. Archer turns to her and it seems like this is going to spark another conversation, but luckily Hoshi is to the rescue and requests that she be given time to decipher the message. She mentions that she could use some help and that T'pol would be integral to the process. Archer agrees and states that he will reach out to EarthGov to see if they have any information. T'pol then states, along with helping Hoshi, she'll reach out to Vulcan High Command. The Vulcan High Command is able to identify the probe as Tholian in nature, though they note that unfortunately, due to the language barriers and odd behaviors by the Tholians, no official first contact has ever been successful, nor have they ever been able to understand what the Tholians are saying. When Archer reaches out, EarthGov has no idea what the probe is, nor where it comes from. It's at this point that the captain vaguely admits that maybe the Enterprise has not been ready for what they've come in contact with, that they've been having issue after issue since launch, and he wonders if there wasn't some truth to the Vulcan warnings. Admiral Forrest reassures him that they are doing the right thing and that they always knew there would be bumps in the road, but to remember the ultimate goal. Archer was chosen because they knew that they could count on him to show how the Vulcans had been wrong. This does reassure Archer about what they ultimately are attempting to do, though he doesn't look as confident as he had before. Most of the rest of the episode would involve Hoshi and T'pol. Hoshi's excitement and enthusiasm, along with her skill, both confuses and impresses the Vulcan. She finds camaraderie with the human officer. The two make significant progress on deciphering the language, but ultimately they aren't able to completely deconstruct it. Worse yet, while they are able to get a few words here and there, the ability to communicate back is still eluding them. And during this time, it would seem that the probe's message is getting more and more urgent. After a frustrating afternoon, Hoshi takes a step back so that she can have a breather and come at it fresh in a little while. She encourages T'pol to do the same thing, who is initially resistant to the idea, but after some conversation admits there is some logic to it. The executive officer uses the time to confide in Hoshi, stating that she wasn't finding science as engaging anymore, that she recently had found herself wanting to do other pursuits. While it's never said, Hoshi appears to understand that T'pol may have enjoyed being in command of the Enterprise more than she lets on. As the conversation continues, T'pol seems perplexed that she would prefer to do something she isn't good at versus something that she excels at. There's a brief moment of pause for Hoshi when she then softly says to the Vulcan, "There's more to logic than ones and zeros." As T'pol ponders this, Hoshi's eyes widen and she repeats ones and zeros. She quickly walks past the Vulcan and goes back to her console. Hoshi analyzes the database provided by the Vulcan High Command and realizes where the errors in the algorithm occur. After only a few hours, the officer set for diplomacy would be able to break the code and create an algorithm that translates both ways. Excitedly, she takes it to Archer, who immediately orders that they reply to the probe. The message, from what they can tell, is simply requesting information on specifically the United Earth and who this new ship is. In response, Archer gives a ton of information, including where the United Earth is located. T'pol steps in to caution, warning that giving such information to an alien government that very little is known about is probably a bad idea. Archer promptly ignores her, stating that perhaps she has a bias against them because they can't manipulate the Tholians like they can the humans. T'pol objects but is ultimately countermanded, and Archer gives the information anyway.
We're on a mission of peaceful exploration. Oh. We come from the planet Earth. We're sending you a pulsar grid that should help you locate our star system.
After everything is provided, the probe promptly leaves with not giving anything back. Confused, Archer orders that the Enterprise continue its trek back to Earth to get repairs. Unlike before, the Enterprise doesn't take any substantial damage and arguably had a neutral to good interaction with an alien, even if it's a little unsettling for everyone. What purpose the probe has, or what the Tholians intend to do, still isn't known. And once again, it ends where it began. Archer finds himself in his office, wondering if he made the right choice. Hey guys, if you want to watch the animated version of this, click either in the description or in the comments to go watch Lore Runner's rendering of the episode. It's fully animated and really fun. You'll get more information, more overviews, and a lovely new audience. Also consider liking and commenting to ensure that this series continues. While you're at it, don't forget to rate and subscribe, and guys, I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.